Hello again, everybody. We are back with my wonderful cast of players for Gun&Slinger Twisted Moon Rising. We're going to have a great time telling you guys a wonderful story tonight. Let's go around the table and get to know everybody. We're going to start with Hull, Bubbly Cream Soda. How are you doing tonight? Who are you playing?
Hi, I'm doing well. I'm playing Zinc, they, them, who will be the Slinger, paired up with my trusty gun, Paladin Hulk over there.
Oh, am I supposed to go now? Okay.
I mean, it seemed like a good enough segue.
Hi everybody, I'm Paladin Hulk, Twitch moderator for Random Tuesday and Little Red Dot, and today I will be playing the French harpoon gun named Cuisine. I am all about food and fine living, which is typical for a gun, in my opinion.
Let's go ahead and mosey on down to Psychotic Felix. How you doing?
Good. Hello, everybody. My name is Felix, a small-time variety streamer, and I will be playing Mosey, a Mosin rifle, who is here to have a good time and protect his slinger.
I think that's my cue. Well, hi everyone, I'm Polished. It's lovely to meet you all, and today I'll be playing Dyna, who uses any pronouns. And yeah, I'm super keen to be here. It's going to be a wild ride by the sounds of things.
I do hope I can make it as wild as I can. I am Celeste. I use they or he pronouns, and I will be your maestro for this story. We're just going to dive right on in to a little intro I've got prepared for you as I explain to you the twist. A malevolent, creeping force that claims people, animals, plants, technology. This force claims and reshapes anything it can worm its way into. Anything. Where does it come from? The only source we've been able to determine is the new moon, left behind the thing that ate the sky. What does it want? We don't rightly know, but we know it's a threat. It consumes, it destroys, and the things it touches seek to spread it further and further still. So what can we do? We can wait. We can study it. We can keep ourselves safe from it. But for some, for a pair of wanderers and their companions, sentient weapons on their hips, all they can do right now is run. We open and we come down from the sky, the starless sky, and we see two figures fleeing from a swarm of what looks like something in flight, some swarm of things. They fuse and separate as freely as drops of water trickling down a pane of glass. It cries like some unholy mechanical bird, the screech of metal on metal, a myriad of voices crying out as one. We come down to Dyna and Zync, fleeing from the thing as it harries them. Dyna, why don't you go ahead and describe yourself for the watchers?
So Dyna is looks human. I mean, that's a good start. She's about 5'5" tall, dressed in clothes that have clearly seen way better days. Right now, especially since we're once again fleeing for our lives, as is sadly becoming the norm these days. But they've got hair that's braided down to their hip, single solid braid, and at the moment, minorly struggling to breathe as we're trying to either find cover or just get away.
And on her hip, Mosey, why don't you describe yourself for everybody?
Yeah, so Mosey is a semi-dirty looking Mosin rifle, and around the barrel and the stock of the rifle is a remnants, at least, of a dark brown, very cool, very warm colored knitted scarf. Just kind of wrapped around the barrel and the stock of the gun.
All right, and next to them, Zinc, why don't you go ahead and describe yourself for everybody?
Sure. Zink is a lanky 5'8", very short, messy hair that sort of looked like it was a buzz cut at first that just grew out on its own, and is wearing mostly what looks like a raincoat, just like a, you know, one of the more like plasticky ones, a rain slicker, I guess is a better term for it, and is geared up more for quick travel than for the amount of running and hiding that they are currently doing.
Alrighty, and on his hip, Cuisine.
I am perhaps too big for him to carry on his hip, as I am a harpoon gun, which tends to be very large. So I would be white, I think, as it is the color of chefs. There are some flame decals to notice that I like to cook, and there is a little fork as a symbol engraved on the side.
Alrighty, and these are the ones who flee from the thing that hunts. And as they're running, its form sort of unforming and reforming as it tries not to impact the branches of the trees as they run past. What would you all like to do?
I guess the best priority right now is to try and find someplace we can duck for cover from the swarm.
Okay. So we're looking for cover. And as you're looking for, you're passing through the trees, and you come up to a rock face, and it stretches up, and you didn't really realize that there was such a cliff in this region, but you found it nonetheless, and you think maybe there might be a cave if you continue along this cliff face.
I would like to slow down the enemy by deploying a net.
Ooh, that's a good idea. So I think I'm going to go ahead and get our hands dealt here. So we're going to go ahead and deal out 5 cards to each player, as well as to myself.
I intend to win this card game.
I'm just seeing this net getting ready to be deployed from the harpoon in my hands, and I'm just... okay, do I aim you or do you aim yourself?
Well, Gun and Slinger
both?
have to agree before any action can be taken. You could assist him by attempting to aim. That could be a thing that you do.
Yeah, I'll give an assist for this.
All right. So, PH, I think this is going to be... It's a pretty big swarm, so it's not going to be too difficult of a check. I'm going to say your threshold is 5.
Okay, and I need to play 2 cards, yes?
Yes, you're going to need a pair of 5s, or lower, or higher.
So neither of the cards can be lower than 5.
No, it's you have to play a pair. Whatever the numbers are, it has to be a pair.
These are my cards. Do I flip them over now? Because you told me to do them upside down. I forget.
Yeah, go ahead and go ahead and put them in the play area and flip them over so everybody can see.
How's that work again?
It should be right click, flip over.
Yeah, there we go.
So that is not
It's
a
an
pair. That is not a pair. We're looking for a pair of matching numbers.
Okay. There you go.
There we go. So you have a 2. You can go ahead and take that 6 back if you want to. And our threshold is 5. Are you using your magic skill for this? That sounds reasonable
I assume
to
so,
me.
because I don't actually
So what's your
have
magic modifier?
Where would I find this?
Should be on your sheet. It's the 3 numbers that you have. One is sharp for a gun.
Right. Magic is my best one, so it's 2.
Okay, so we're at a 4. So Hull, anything that you add to this is going to make it a success, but you do need to play a single card in order to add to it.
Sure thing. So at this point, just anything will guarantee it?
Anything will guarantee a success here.
Got it. In that case, I'll burn this one, because it's my lowest one.
So we have succeeded in this check now. Zync lifts the gun and levels it at the thing that hunts as it comes flying in, trying to catch you, trying to wrap its form around you. And Cuisine fires off a net, which manages to wrap itself around the form, the conglomerate form of the thing that hunts, and it staggers and screeches horribly, but you've definitely slowed it down. You've definitely bought yourself a little bit of time, a little bit of distance if you keep moving.
That will teach you to mesh with the French. Is that mesh? I meant mess.
I mean, it's net mesh.
Oh, yeah, it's a pun. It's totally intended.
Well done. Dyna, Mosey, is there anything you'd like to do?
I would like to use. Oh, God.
Fight, flight, trickery? What are we doing, Mosey?
Well, I think we try to get up to the hiding spot as best as we can. I would like to use my sharp for a gun skill to try to guide the group towards the safest yet fastest way to a hiding spot, a cave, or somewhere where we can get away from these the swarm that my friends have slowed down.
All right. Given that we are already on a cliff face, and you think anywhere around here could be a cave, there could be anywhere you could hide. I'm going to make this a threshold 4. So if you have a pair, go ahead and play that pair. If you do not have a pair, then you're going to need to go fish.
How often do we get new cards?
When your hand empties, you draw 3, and there's also, if you have a jack in your hand, you can play it to immediately draw some cards.
Okay. You said it was a 4?
Threshold 4, yes. If you have a pair of 4s or higher, that'll automatically complete it. What's your sharp for a gun skill at?
Oh, that is correct. It is a 2. That's my strong suit.
So 2s or higher. 2s or higher will get you this check.
Okay. In that case, I will do this and this.
So,
because I believe a queen takes a place of any number card. Is that correct?
That's what my handy cheat sheet says.
Yeah, it says the queen is a symbol that thrives in every environment and can be paired with any non-face single to produce a pair.
Perfect.
That's the best queen,
so,
too.
Yeah, pair of threes. You've definitely made this happen. You didn't even need any assistance from any other members of the group. So yeah, you relatively easily managed to spot a cave in the cliff face. And you definitely pulled Dyna in direction. Dyna, you can mention to the group that you found this.
I
Dyna,
think we got something over
do you
there.
see what I see?
I do. Looks alright.
Let's go.
Wait for us.
Right behind you.
And yeah, just gonna bolt over there as quickly as possible, hoping that
Alright, so
will have made the difference.
Yeah. So you dip into that cave, and it goes a little deeper in than you expect, but it is very dark in there. You really can't. You get a couple of feet in, and you already cannot see your hand even in front of your face. You'd probably need to light a torch or something to get any deeper safely.
I just happen to be a fire gun, so I will light up.
Yes. Go ahead and
Okay.
describe what you look like when you light up.
The flames on the side of my body would just start to glow, and then like an illusionary fire would start to come off. So it would look like I'm on fire.
Super cool. You were trying to say something there, Hull?
No, I was just responding to that decision.
Okay. Yeah. So, so Cuisine starts
Responding
to glow.
good, or are you like, no, this is a terrible idea?
Good for the situation. Zync is still scared of this magic gun.
Fire is just warmth
Yeah.
and destruction.
But you're in my hands.
Yep, your hands are nice and warm. All right, do you want me to play cards?
No, this is not something that really requires a check. As you begin to
Yep.
glow, the group can see a little deeper into this cave, and you walk a little bit further. Outside of the cave, you hear the screeching and grinding of the thing that hunts as it attempts to locate you, and you all hold your breath collectively for a moment as you think, is it going to think to look in this cave? Is it going to come this way? And after a few moments of the disgusting screeching, grinding sound, it sort of quiets a little bit, and then you hear it again, and it slowly fades out, and you think it's gone for the moment. You slip deeper into this cave, and it goes quite a ways back. You think this actually might be a tunnel. You don't take you to where you were trying to, but if nothing else, it would be a good place to camp tonight. It looks like a place that's easily defensible. What would you like to do?
Okay. So, who is ready for bedtime?
We should eat first. We have had a long day, and all this running away and fighting has burned many calories from you and Dyna.
Your
So-
ability to just fall asleep anywhere will never cease to amaze me.
When you are constantly on the run and have your head on a swivel, it helps to be able to fall asleep after just about having your eyes closed for more than 3 seconds.
Almost supernatural how you do that. So here's a question. Can I actually hear Cuisine, or can I just hear Mosey?
I would.
Oh no, Cuisine is.
Yeah, you can hear me.
Sorry.
Cool.
Yeah. Now
Unless
now
I
that I
say
thought
it's some
about
sort
it.
of private message, I think we're just talking out
Cool.
loud.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if it was, like if that was private. Or
I
not,
wouldn't
so.
take that joy away from you.
I appreciate it. Well,
So, my
nothing better
friends,
to do.
what are you in the mood for?
What do we even have?
Yeah, that's a good
know what?
question. What would we have?
Surprise us.
So I imagine y'all have at least some basic traveling supplies. You probably resupplied at the last town that you left. So you probably have, at the very least, some very basic trail rations. A lot can be made out of very basic trail rations, just out of necessity. I'd imagine you have like things that keep for a long time: jerky, nuts, berries, things of that nature.
I will do my utmost to turn that into a meal. Maybe I'll like grab some cave lichen or something that's growing around here. It's got to be something.
a few
Always
bugs
something.
for crunch.
Bugs, that's a good one. Yeah.
I'll skip on the bugs, but I probably have some spare aloe that I've foraged for.
So cuisine will turn into whatever tool we would need to get that done, which includes pans and pots, stir material things. We probably also have utensils that are not the guns.
Boy, I hope so.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting this image of like Zinc pulls out like a cutting board and Cuisine turns into a knife and chop some things, and then that gets pulled into a bowl, and there's like he turns into a spoon, and there's some stirring that happens, and it's just this nice little montage of like shape-shifting into different utensils for cooking, and it's just delightful. You managed to make something at least barely passable. You're not working with the best ingredients here. It's all stuff that's meant to keep for a long time, and as such, it's very dry. But you do manage to make it better than it would have been just eating it on its own, and that's really the end goal of cooking, isn't it?
I think Cuisine's goals are a little higher than that, so I have done the best I can with what you have provided for me. We should really spend a little more time to do some hunting and gathering so that we may have the finest of ingredients rather than this long-lasting swear word.
Of course, if it's any consolation, you're the best chef in this cave.
Indeed,
So,
I am.
Paladin, does Cuisine have like a built-in censorship, like a silencer for swearing?
I don't know. I wanted to swear at that point, but like I don't know any French swears, so.
Fair enough.
Do I? Merde. There we go.
There we go.
There you go.
So the lot of you sit down to a nice meal, or a passable meal, as it begins to get darker and darker outside, and nights, as it were, are now very dark because there haven't been stars in the sky for eons, and it's a very quiet sort of dark. At least twilight is very quiet. Once dark fully sets in and the twisted moon above begins to cast the night world in a purple glow, then you start to hear the baying of everything that's been touched by the twist that wanders at night. All of the growls and the howls and the moans and the groans of the beasts in the night. And it would be unsettling if it's not something that you were used to by this point. It's just the way things are.
It's like crickets. It's fun. Makes you feel like you're outside. It's part of the camping experience to have deadly monsters roaming around.
I do need to know if the group lights any sort of fire for the evening.
Probably.
I don't think we do inside of a cave. like when it's a tunnel? Because that thing could fill up
depends
with
on how
smoke
warm it
unless we
is.
know there's... Yeah.
The night has gotten cooler.
Sorry, I was gonna say, how big is this cave, and what would its like if we lit a fire within it, would we be smoked out? Is it a decent sized cave?
It is the mouth of it was pretty large and gaping. As you've gone farther back into the cave, it sort of narrowed down into more of a constrained tunnel, but it is still definitely large enough for several people to walk abreast of one another. It's very sizable, and it does have ceilings, so there's not a whole lot of danger of the smoke covering you and suffocating you, but it is still a minor concern.
And you say it's getting cold?
It is getting colder. You think you could do without one, but it would be very uncomfortable.
That's unacceptable to me, so I will light the fire.
You had a nice fire going so that you could stay warm at night. It's the ground is hard rock, and it is not going to be the most comfortable to sleep on. You do have bedrolls, but those only go so far. And you're in for not the best night, but at the very least you're out of the glow of the new moon, and you think you're at least out of danger from anything that stalks the night in here.
I assume we guns don't sleep. So what do we get up to while they're passed out?
That's up to you. If you have an
asking
internal
Mosey,
monologue
what do you want to do?
Well, I imagine as they start bedding down and getting ready for bed, Mosey would begin to shift himself, and the rifle would start to shrink into the scarf that is wrapped around the rifle until it is just a long scarf, which then wraps itself around Dyna's neck to keep them warm. And we'll just kind of chill there, and is open to discussion, but doesn't necessarily initiate anything.
We probably want to keep the conversation to a minimum, considering people are sleeping. I will decorate the cave. So when they wake up, I'll have like painted some happier images on the cave wall, like balloons and a sunrise maybe.
How do you go about? I'm really interested in you painting the cave. How do you go about that?
Yeah, me too. Let's see. Maybe I could use some food that we have that I don't particularly like or think is super good. I'll just use it as decoration to necessitate us getting better stuff. Yep, it's all coming together.
That is definitely a very interesting concept. I love the idea of food is art and art is food, and definitely is gonna elicit a reaction when the two humans wake up. Speaking of the two humans, which of you do you think would fall asleep first? Do you think it's probably Zync or Dyna?
Definitely Zync.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think we've established your skills in that area.
Yeah.
And I think Dyna, he's still a bit self-conscious about what he looks like when he's asleep, so they know the guns are still going to be awake, but I think they consciously try to wait for Zync to fall asleep first.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think probably Cuisine, definitely. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, Mosey would speak up before Dinah would go to sleep and ask within her their mind, telepathically, Dinah, would you like me to cover you up tonight? Act as a bedroll?
Nah, I'm good, thanks. That's not too bad, and can't really feel the cold once I'm asleep. So,
Have it your way then.
I mean, unless there's a sudden gust of wind or something, because
Of course, I
then it
will
would
be
be quite
watching.
appreciated.
Of course.
Thank you. And she's going to sort of try to curl down inside the actual bedroll, to keep herself contained.
Lovely. The four of you pass the night in relative quiet. There are some sounds from the mouth of the cave, but nothing gets any closer than that, and you do pass the night in relative quiet. When the sun finally begins to rise again and the purple glow of the twisted moon is banished from the land, there's a little bit of bird song that happens just outside. And the fire has gone cold some several hours prior, and it's simply ashes now, as is Dinah. Who is it that wakes first, do you think, Zync or Dinah?
I think I tried to get up first, but I think it's a 50-50 bet on any morning.
Yeah, I'd say about the
All right.
same.
Let's leave it to chance then. Highs are Dinah, lows are Zync. We got highs. Dinah is up first.
Well, I gather myself and take a look at the wall. Any of you do this?
I felt it was my duty to ensure that you woke up to pleasant imagery. You are welcome.
Is that food?
You did not provide me with adequate materials to do painting with paint, so I had to improvise. I apologize. But since we were planning to gather more food anyway, I figured it was a good idea. What do you think?
No, I mean,
Have I not captured the
it looks
essence
great.
of that balloon?
Yeah, very authentic.
Thank you.
Celeste, does any of this look salvageable? And how much food has been used for this creative endeavor?
I mean, I'd say how much is up to cuisine. How buck wild did you go last night with this impromptu graffiti?
We would have enough to keep going, but it would also necessitate us getting more. I don't want anyone to starve to death, because that's against my basic tenets, but
I would say that it's possible for you to sort of scrape some of it back together, but it's inadvisable.
Yeah, the way you say that makes me think I'm just going to leave it where it is.
Probably for the best.
And I think I get my things in order, and then I just sit down and stare at Zync until they awake. Just to sort of, have you seen this?
Yeah, I think a few minutes after Zync will wake up and then just look at the art on the walls, and we'll just go, okay, so we're low on rations. That's the bad news. The good news, and then they just with their index and middle finger just peel some of it off the wall and just lick it and go, "We have breakfast ready."
I
I
wouldn't.
would not eat the
Oh.
art, but it is to be enjoyed. So if that is how you wish to enjoy my creation, it is up to you.
Let me get this straight. You're opposed to bugs, but cave wall food is fine?
Bugs are, well, I just like bugs too much to eat them. It's like how some people won't eat chickens because they're too cute.
I have never heard of such a thing. Who would think a chicken is cute? Have you seen them? They were created to be eaten, more than any other creature on the planet.
I mean, they're kind of weird, yeah, but I don't know. I can understand
I once
it at
heard
least.
that they used to be dinosaurs.
Well, now they kind of are again, and I've seen chickens try to eat other people again, so.
Dire chickens.
I can
am
see it.
here for that.
Apparently,
On
you
that,
should move them with swords. I will somehow send out a signal to every chicken in the area. I don't know how they do it. I don't know if they're twisted or if it's magical, but chickens are ferocious.
History repeats itself, and then Zink just goes for another.
And on that horrifying note, the lot of you gather yourselves up, and did you want to try and move through this cave as you continue on for the day, or did you want to exit it and get back out into the forest?
Do we know where we're going, and have we decided what our overarching goal for the journey, like for this part of the journey, is?
I would say that you definitely at this point have established that the thing that hunts is definitely being controlled. You saw the radio tower. There was a township you stopped in a couple of weeks past, and you saw the radio tower that was controlling them. And Polished you pretty immediately went, that's it, that's what's making them do this, that's where we need to go, we need to stop them. And you've been moving in that direction since.
Well, there should be fewer planes in here, but the swarms might still get us. I think either way carries risks, not to mention we don't actually know if this cave leads anywhere. Could be a dead end.
That's true.
Dyna, are you sure you want to go after these things? They are trying to kill us, or something. Wouldn't
And
it be
we
better
cannot
to
eat them.
Wouldn't it be better to make sure we stay alive?
Well, it's kind of hard to stay alive when something's hunting you down to kill you.
And we
Makes
haven't
it a bit more
tried to eat them.
complicated. No,
They
that's
are
true.
made of metal. Come on, Zink. Use your brain. These are the basic rules of nourishment. You only eat animals and plants. Right?
I mean, I hear it's got a lot of iron in it.
This is not the same iron. You cannot just nom on some railway and expect to be healthy.
Oh no, have
Weren't
you
you
tried?
always Yeah, weren't you the one telling me about how minerals are good for you?
But different minerals. Ah. Mon Dieu. Which is another thing I know how to say in French.
Look, I reckon no matter which direction we go, they're still going to try to find us. It's been a while since I explored a cave.
Alright, as long as we're out of sight of those things.
All right, the
I
cave
mean-
it is. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it can't exactly fit one of those jets down here, so that's a bonus. Maybe a small fighter
Yes.
plane.
Wait till you see the
We'll just have
underground
to-
burrowing planes.
Hmm.
Oh no.
We just have to look out for other twisted creatures. They usually come out at night, but who knows? They might be hiding in the caves.
Do not forget that other people, they are not always friendly.
Right, cave it is then. So you delve deeper.
As
Go ahead.
we are going about this, and my protective nature, I would like to try to use my magical ability to try to sense if there's anything twisted ahead in the cave.
Alrighty. What's your connection? Your connection is at the lowest level. Connection to the magic.
My connection to magic is a 1. So it's
Okay.
sharp magic and then mean.
Okay. So as far as the strength of your connection to magic goes, that's going to make this a slightly more difficult check. So I'm going to say that this is going to be at least a 7. So if you have a pair you can play, you can go ahead and play that. Otherwise, you'll need to go fish.
Okay, and how do I go fish? I just ask.
You ask anybody at this table if they have a number of a card that matches something in your hand already.
Let's just do it. Let's just do it. I don't know the chances of
Okay.
getting 2 queens.
That was
Oh, wow.
that was pretty clutch. Nicely done.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you reach out your senses into the lines and planes of the magic in the world. And you reach out and you're definitely sensing a few things farther out of the cave. But there is definitely something deeper in as well. There's one thing deeper in the cave. But as you reach out, since you did do so well with the check, you can also tell that there is an exit on the other end of this tunnel. This isn't a dead end. This will take you somewhere. Whether it's where you
Okay.
want to go or not, that remains to be seen.
So as Mosey is still a scarf, if you are paying attention or at all, perceptive, you would notice that the fabric of the knitted material would kind of raise as if there was like static in the air, as he makes this connection to the magic, to the lines and whatnot. And as he senses this, he would just kind of speak up a little bit and be like, well, if you are insistent on going through the cave, you should know I do sense something twisted within nature. Within. I can also sense an exit, but there is something. There are things outside as well, a little more dispersed, but there is an exit, but there is potential danger as well.
Could you tell if it was edible?
It was twisted, so I would not recommend. You do not know how the the twist might affect our companions.
Good call.
And I just speak into Dinah's mind, like, please do not eat anything twisted, no matter what cuisine makes.
Thanks for the advice, Mosey. I'm sure in the past 30 years or so, I've never come across that piece of valuable information.
Just kind of grumbles a little bit.
Well, it seems we're caught between two bad options. Do we go for the big thing or the several small things?
Is there a third option where we deal with neither of them?
Yeah, we sit in a cave and put food on the wall until we have none left. Then we deal with the bad thing here.
All right. In that case, let's go for the new danger instead of the old one.
Here's your sense of adventure. You had it in you. And I think
on my back.
Dinah, she's gonna now that a decision has been made, she's gonna be very, very quick to pack up all of their things and just get going.
Alrighty. A lot of you break camp, and you proceed deeper into the cave by the light of Cuisine, who I assume continues to glow to guide your path. And as you're walking through, there are definitely stalagmites and stalactites all over the place. This is definitely a very old cave. And there's twists and turns to this strange tunnel. It seems natural. It seems like nothing tunneled or carved this out, at least at first. And then as you progress deeper, you find old tracks and old lines on the wall, like this perhaps at one point was a mine shaft of sorts. And as you round another bend and you see the tunnel progressing one way and then another, and you have a fork in the path, but one end of it is totally blocked up by this strange stone carving. And it's a perfectly flat surface of wall, and etched into it is strange geometric designs. And there's even some inlaid gemstones. You're not quite sure what this is, what it was meant to be. But it seems like something. It doesn't seem like nothing.
I prefer my art, but to each their own.
Sorry, did you say there's a fork in the road?
Well, there was. At the end of one fork was this big flat face with the carvings in it.
Cool. I think Dinah's gonna resist the urge to make a joke that he's made 10 billion times before, and just move up to have a closer look at the wall paintings.
It's a really strange. It's very abstract, and you're not quite sure if there's any pattern at all to the weird geometric shapes that have been etched into this face. You can definitely see that there's gemstones dotted all over the place, and the lines seem to be connecting the gemstones. You've never seen anything like this. Not in all of the time that you've been traveling. This is totally unique, and that makes it kind of cool. But at the other time, it makes it, at the same time, it kind of makes it mysterious as well. You're really not quite sure what to make of it.
I mean, it looks alright. Strange place for decoration. Think it might be a map.
Look at how many gemstones they used. So wasteful.
I like the Art Deco style, though.
It's quite a cavey location for something like this.
Yeah. Do we know what's down on the other? Because we went down a fork in the cave. Do we see what's on the other path before this one?
The path with the carving down it only proceeded a few feet before you reached the carving. You can pretty much turn around and follow the tracks right up the other fork. You can't see terribly far, even by Cuisine's light. But there appears to be the tracks do continue, and on the tracks there does appear to be some metal cart that's on them that has stopped in place and has some rock in it.
Hmm. Maybe. Maybe we can get this cart moving fast enough to ram in the wall.
Sorry, I think I missed that part. Did you say a cart?
Yes, up the other path there, along the tracks, there is a cart that is stopped, and it does have some rock in it, like a mine cart.
Does it, are the tracks functional? And if so, which direction do they go in?
The tracks stop a couple of feet before this carving. If you had to hazard a guess, they'd excavated this out a little bit. You're not quite sure why. Maybe they were looking for this, but you're not sure why they would be looking for it. Just seems like some weird piece of decoration down here.
And the flat wall with gemstones in it, is there a part of it that looks like it's missing a gemstone, or is it all just filled and decorated?
No, it's all filled and decorated. This looks like a complete piece. Nothing seems to be out of place or out of the ordinary with it, except for the thing itself. As you're standing here examining the carving, you can hear a very slight sound in the distance, further in along the tracks. It's this weird knocking against the stone, something hard knocking against stone repeatedly. You're not quite sure what it is that's making that sound.
Is it the thing you sensed before, or is that...
Oh yeah, can I still tell if this is the direction of, I imagine, the thing I
sound
sensed?
is definitely the thing that you sensed. You're not quite sure how much farther in it is, but it's definitely there.
Yeah, I would say that during this entire time, Mosey is a pretty intelligent being, but has not been focused at all at what they're looking at or this thing, and is just solely focused on the danger and like how far it might be, and if he senses it coming closer. And as he hears his partner speak up, yep, that's it. Can I tell how far about it is? Do I still sense it, or was it like a one-time kind of burst?
No, you can still sense it. It's still further in. Now that you reached out and looked for it, you know where it is. Okay. You have a sense of where it is, and it's definitely still deeper in.
Okay. We still have a bit of safety, so if you want to look, go for it. I will keep my wits about me, and I'll let you know if it gets closer. And as we get closer, I'll let you know what I can sense.
I don't know that we should get closer into this thing.
Do not worry, Zync. I will protect you. One harpoon shot from me, and it will be done like dinner.
Thank you.
I
I
mean,
feel more confident.
you can always stay here if you want me to have a peek. There's some nice
I
gemstones
will
to look at.
agreed. But also, I'm the one with the light, and I kind of hold Cuisine like up a little bit, like this is our flashlight, this is our torch right now.
Well, seems a choice has been made then. And I'm just gonna start walking. Trying to keep the noise down as much as possible.
Alrighty, you proceed along the tracks and past the cart with the rocks in it, which it definitely looks just like stone detritus that never got carted out. And actually, the closer you look at the wheels, it seems like they're a little bit rusted. Like this thing hasn't been touched in years, maybe decades. You
There's a
continue
mood.
along the tracks. You continue along the tracks, and eventually it spills out into a large cavern. This thing really opens up, and you find that you're on sort of a trestle over an underground river that proceeds beneath you. And on the far end of the cave, there is an underground waterfall that comes cascading down. You can hear it more than you can see it. It's pretty dark in here, but there is just the very slight shimmer of Cuisine's light coming off of the water as it cascades down and into the river below. The trestle appears to be pretty sturdy. You don't think you'll have any problems walking over it. You don't think there's any danger of it collapsing on you. But the echoing of whatever that tapping is much louder now, and it echoes throughout this cavern. And Mosey, you can especially tell whatever it is in here. It's probably down at the river below.
Okay.
And therefore,
so
it
as
might
we
not
enter
be a danger
in,
to you.
okay.
Go ahead.
As we enter in, I'll speak up and be like, "Wait,
I wait.
it's below us. I can't tell if it's active. We may be able to sneak by. I suggest that."
Very well. I'll dim my light to just be just a small glow.
With Cuisine dimming his light, you can just barely see a couple of feet of the trestle in front of you as you continue to proceed over it and follow the tracks. And the darkness about you it's oppressive. And you can't see anything that's out there. You can just hear the rush of the water, and you can hear occasionally from the darkness below and you recognize it. You recognize the sound. It's one that you haven't heard in a little while, but you recognize it as the sound of hooves on stone. Except with the rate at which they're moving, it seems like whatever is down there with hooves has far more than 4.
Spider horse.
Centipony.
But its movement does sound very slow and very methodical. And you don't think that it's coming any closer. You're not certain if it can.
Yeah.
And as you reach the other side of the trestle, you come across a door or a gate of sorts. And it's got a couple of metal handles. And around the metal handles, looped around, is a length of chain with a padlock.
Our path is blocked.
I immediately put a hand on Zinc's shoulder. It's your time to shine, mate.
I got this one. And Zinc reaches into their bag and just pulls out a rock. And it goes over to the lock chain and just and just cracks the rock right onto the lock.
And as you do, the lock, you can, the rest of you can hear like a slight click. there's the sound of the impact, but then there's also a slight click, and the lock falls off of the chain, and you're free to remove the length of chain and push the doors open. And you can see as you do
elegant
that,
solution, but it worked.
you see as you do this that there is just the slightest hint of light further up the tunnel, and you can definitely tell that you're getting toward the way out. You can feel just the slightest breeze now from the outside.
Well, we're not here to fuck spiders, and I'm gonna start making my way through.
I think me and Zync share a look, like, what? And then we keep going.
It's not much farther before you make it out of the cave and out of this mine shaft, and it definitely is a mine shaft now that you've had a good look. You can see the beams that are holding the stone up, and this was definitely very intentionally tunneled. And once you come spilling out into the daylight, you can see that you're now in a desert. There's sand on the ground, and there's dunes up ahead, and you can see exactly two things in the distance. A little bit off to the west, there is some pillar of stone that is sort of suspended in the air. You don't know how, but it's suspended in the air. And you can definitely hear in the distance the rushing of wind. And then on the other end of the horizon, off to the east, there is just the very gentle blinking light of the radio tower that you've identified as the source of the thing that hunts.
Just our luck, a desert. There is not much food here. It will take great skill to find food in the desert, which thankfully I have. And I'll start looking for things that are edible.
You're reaching out
Like
with your senses.
Yep.
To find food. Alrighty. Well, I'm gonna have you you make a check here. I'm gonna say that given that this is a desert, this is going to be kind of a difficult check. It's gonna be a threshold 10.
Okay.
So you can either have a pair to play already,
Yeah.
and your magic skill is the highest it is, so it's 2.
Yep.
So you do pass with an 11. Well done. So as you reach out with your senses, you can tell that there really is not much of substance in this desert. You can definitely sense some bugs here and there that could be used you could dig up some grubs. That's a thing that you could do. There are lizards. There are other insectoids. It's just all very sparse sources of protein and the occasional like cactus. But off in the distance, perhaps a couple hours march and a little bit leaning toward the west, you can definitely sense that there's a much greater source of food. There's likely some manner of like oasis or pool of water, maybe with some fish in, maybe some trees. That's definitely, if you need food, that's definitely where you want to head to.
I'll telepathically share this with Zync, and I'll let them pick what they want.
I will probably communicate back the source of water is probably the best place. If we're traveling the desert, we're gonna want some place that we can get water to hydrate with.
A wise choice. Let us proceed.
All right, so it's definitely a few hours marched in that direction, and it is hot. It is oppressively hot. The sun is beating down, and it's incredibly dry, and you already feel parched for the first, you're a half hour into this march across the sands, and you already feel parched, and it's hard going because the sand is very loose, and you're trudging through it, and it's a slog. it sucks really bad to trudge through this soft, hot, dry desert. It's not a great experience. Would not recommend. Gonna give this 1 star on Yelp. It's awful. But you do it. It sucks, but you do it anyway. And before long, you can definitely hear more sounds of like insects and a little bit of the sound of wind, not so much on the dune, but rustling through some leaves. And as you crest the largest dune yet, and it takes some doing to get up that thing, you make it over this dune and you see before you the oasis. And it's lush and it's green, and there are trees with fruits hanging off of them and little creatures flittering here and there around the pond, bugs everywhere. It is the best you're gonna get, and it's pretty great after everything that you just went through to get here. It's nice. It's not quite paradise, but it's real close.
What did I tell you? You trust in cuisine, and everything will be okay.
True. So that hot, dry desert really sucked to get through.
I reckon that creature we heard? Caterpillar with shoes. Giant caterpillar.
Sounded like hooves to me, but perhaps.
Yeah, horseshoes.
Oh,
Horseshoes. I was gonna guess millipede practicing tap dancing.
Very slow tap dancing, but maybe.
Could be like interpretive tap.
Imagine if it was just like giant daddy long legs having a bit of a bad day. Drunkenly stumbling about or something.
Yeah. I can't imagine there are any good days living in a cave alone.
It's gotta be pretty miserable. And while we sort of approach this little spot of paradise, I want to take a moment to listen to see if I can hear any sounds of humming or, a low mechanical sound of things lurking about and whirring and all of those wonderful things.
Okay. I don't think I'm going to require a check here. You can't hear it. You can't hear it. You're pretty used to the sound of it by now. It's been chasing you for so long that you think you'd know immediately when you heard it, and you can't hear it right now. So wherever you are, it's not near enough to be heard. Either that, or it got really good at being quiet really quick.
That was suddenly a whole lot less reassuring towards the end. Well, I think this might be our last chance to stock up for a while.
Yeah, at this point we're off. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, does the water seem clean? Like, does it look drinkable?
There's lots of bugs, but that's to be expected given that this is the only source of water for, as far as Cuisine can tell, miles. So it's to be expected that there would be insects in here. But it's nothing a little boiling couldn't clean out. Probably boil before
culinary magic. I figure water purification is part of my skill set.
That's probably that would probably be one of your basic kit would be.
So I'll get to purifying.
All right. It is going to take some time, so you guys can tell you're going to be here for a while. It is only about midday.
So
how long you guys want to spend here is up to you.
Okay, so this is probably a uniquely Australian fear, but body of water in a dry area like this, is it connected by any rivers or?
Nope, this appears to be just a still lake.
How clear is the water?
It's a little murky. But it's not
mhm.
terrible. Insofar as you can tell, it's probably a ground spring.
Okay.
Better.
This
Better
is
than
more
just
player
a pond,
data
you know,
going
like-
off than the characters.
Yeah,
but,
no, it's fine.
I need a bit of a distance.
Are there any "don't swim" alligators signs?
No,
Do
no
I
signs.
see any
No
crocs?
signage.
That's what my Florida senses are saying right now. It's like,
I was like, no, don't go into water.
Yeah.
I'm already in the water, purifying it.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, I've noticed.
And Cuisine, you can tell that if they had drank this without your assistance, probably a little bit of problems, but not too much. Somebody with a hardy constitution probably would have been okay drinking this just straight. But better safe than sorry.
Yeah, I don't think any of my companions have a constitution good enough for this. Delicate flowers, the both of them.
Alrighty. As you all take your ease at this oasis and stock up before the next leg of your journey, I think that's a place for us to take our ease and take a quick little 10-minute break. We will be back with you. Everybody get up, stretch, hydrate, take a minute to work the kinks out of your body, and we will be back with you T-minus 10 minutes.
Time to jazzercise.
to Gun and Slinger, Twisted Moon Rising. We have just entered a lovely little desert oasis as our wandering guns and slingers have exited from a weird mine shaft where they heard what sounded like some many-legged horse clip-clopping around. We're not quite sure what that was about. We do know that we're here in this oppressively hot desert in this lovely little oasis, stocking up for the next leg of our journey as we move toward a radio tower in the distance that we believe is controlling the thing that hunts. So as the lot of you take your ease at this oasis and you stock up on supplies, fill your canteens with water, thankfully purified by Cuisine and his unique abilities, there's a shadow that's cast on the oasis as you're stocking up. And you see at the top of the large dune that you came over to reach this oasis, a figure astride a many-legged horse.
It's probably a coincidence.
So, not a caterpillar.
Man.
Is it coming from the direction of the cave?
Yeah, it came,
Yep.
as far as you can tell,
Cool.
around the same direction
Cool.
you did. It crested the same, but it's not making any move to attack. It's very clearly twisted. Its form is almost incoherent and slightly purplish, and you can definitely tell that it has far more than two eyes, some on its arms, some on its chest. And
Perhaps
it's not...
if we stay very still, it will not see us.
I was going to say, maybe we should give it some space if it's just going for a drink.
We're near the place where it drinks, I'm guessing.
We should have sufficient
at the-
resources, so let us get out of its way then.
Sorry, are we still at where the water is? Or is this after?
Yeah, you guys are definitely still around the oasis, and it has crested the same dune that you did on your way here. It's just stood at the top, and it's just there. It's just watching. It's not making any move to attack. It's not trying to communicate with you anyway. It just is there, watching.
I would say at this point, Mosey kind of shifts, so the scarf around Dyna's neck kind of forms and rolls, and as it rolls, it falls back into its gun form, just in case. Mosey doesn't like this.
I am going to, in addition to having Mosey, at the ready, I'm going to reach into my pocket and pull out a small brick-like blue object that I just have at the ready.
And Zync is standing completely still as Cuisine suggested.
So horses are like raptors, right?
Mm-hmm.
As you're all standing there, it does slowly begin to descend the dune. Very slowly. And you can tell that this is... When I say many-legged horse, this thing has to have upwards of 12 legs, and its form is long, and its head is quite emaciated. Where the lips would be, they're sort of pulled back, and the teeth are yellow and somewhat rotted. This is a disturbing...
There was a dude on the horse? Was there a dude on the horse?
Yeah, there appears to be a figure
horse?
astride the horse. There appears to be a figure astride the horse.
What is this figure like?
It's got many eyes, and its form isn't quite totally corporeal. It's a little bit ethereal in nature. Has many eyes, and its face is mostly featureless.
Maybe
and
we
it's
should
slowly
start
descending the dune.
moving.
Yes, let us back away slowly to show that we mean it no harm.
And you slowly
Because it is
back away.
distasteful to eat
begin
horse,
to
according to many.
walk back slightly.
Yeah, a lot of you back up and go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say Zync also starts slowly backing up.
Mm-hmm. And you're backing away slowly, farther from the water's edge, farther yet, until your feet are no longer on any sort of green growth. They're back on the sand and sinking slightly into that loose earth. And as the horse slowly approaches the pond, it does dip its head as though to drink. You're not entirely sure if it is drinking. You can't really tell. There is movement in the throat, but it's almost like it's going through the motions. It's still performing these necessary actions, even though you're not entirely sure if twisted creatures even need to drink. And the rider watches you, as he has since the moment he appeared. And there's a tense moment of just this weird standoff where you're being watched and the horse is drinking maybe. And a lot of you are staring right back, watching it, cautious. And then you slowly watch as it backs away from the water's edge and goes back up the dune. And it stops at the top, turns around again, and continues to watch you.
Okay.
So we're not going back in that direction?
No. I think every direction
west of radio.
is bad for us.
So west of Radio Tower from here, like, would we need to get closer to this entity, or is that...
No, you could actually keep moving in the direction you've backed away from it, and you would be moving directly in the direction of the tower. It's not getting in your way. It doesn't seem to be getting in your way. It's just watching.
How in this world with a twisted, how often is that a thing where the twisted don't really attack but just kind of watch? Is that common?
The vast majority of twist touched, they are in some way hostile. There is occasionally the story of an entity that doesn't seem hostile in any way. It just watches people, observes, sometimes the same group of people, sometimes it wanders between towns and observes different people.
Okay.
The fact that it's not attacking creeps me out more.
Yeah, and we're off my usual beaten track, and the only way back is past the creepy horse. So it's creepy horse,
we're not going
or...
back.
I didn't want you to say that.
I mean, we're already on the way. Let's just keep moving away from it. If it follows, then we've got a problem. Maybe. But right now it's just being creepy.
I am a little afraid that if we move on and it follows, if we get into trouble, it might join in and cause double trouble.
So you say
doesn't mean I want to confront it.
it?
No, yes, that.
So prepare for trouble and make it double. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
No, well done. Absolutely, well done.
Yes.
I think Dyna's they're gonna start slowly moving in the direction of the radio tower and sort of keeping a casual eye on a horsey boy over there.
Yeah, Zink will follow behind Dyna, and at some point when they are far enough from the horse creature that they feel safe, they just do that thing with their like the hands to the eyes, but they do it like multiple times to the figure because of the amount of eyes on its body.
Nice. You sense approval from Cuisine.
Finally.
So the lot of you begin moving away. You start moving toward the radio tower, and at first you don't think it is following you. You pass by another dune, and it falls out of your sight, and you think maybe that's the end of it. And then you crest another dune, and you see behind you that it is in fact following at distance.
Oh, good.
It's lagging behind you, and keeping a good amount of space between you and it, but it is following.
Good. Yeah.
We have too many twisted things following us these days.
I'm gonna wave to it. So sort of hi,
Lift your
and
hand.
keep going.
And that gives it pause as you raise your hand to wave it. And then slowly, mechanically, as if it's a gesture that it's forgotten over the years, it raises its hand stiffly. And lowers it again.
Does it keep moving towards us?
It keeps following you, keeping about the same amount of space.
Perhaps we can distract it in some way.
With what?
So it stops following us? Which is that not what we intend?
No, I mean with what? What are we distracted with?
Oh. I do not know.
How do you distract that many eyes?
If only we had those gemstones from the cave. Perhaps they would distract it.
Well, we don't.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's about to attack us. Let's just keep going and hope it goes away at some point.
This might be stupid, but Dana, are you thinking you want to talk to it? You were waving.
Thinking. I honestly don't know what I was thinking. It seemed the right thing to try to do. I mean, we could try. I'm not sure if it's... If it comes closer, we might. Like, well, I don't know. I'm not sure. This might be a ghost or something like it. I think it's doing things it used to do, but I've kind of forgotten why.
Or it's a person who is completely succumbed to the twist touch.
Yeah. Yeah. That's an option. How pissed are you all gonna be if I try to say hi?
I knew you were going to say that.
That
You know me so
depends
well.
on
On how it goes?
I'd say that.
I don't think I've ever met anyone that wanted to talk to a twist touch before. But I've never been able to stop you from doing things before, so...
I mean, there was the time when you tried, tying my legs together, shoelaces thing,
True.
but with your scarf
Yeah,
form.
yeah. That was good.
Yeah. You were very pleased with yourself. Okay, well, no one's protesting super loudly for a lack of options. I'm going to take that as consent. And I'm just going to sort of stop and wait and turn towards it, wave again.
And again, it mimics the motion. Go ahead.
I think Zync telepathically is talking to Cuisine and just says, okay, at the first sign of strike, I'm gonna run as fast as I can, and we don't know anyone named Dyna.
Surely you mean you will run towards the danger? Oui? To save our companion?
Now, I know English might not be your first language, but I did say away. I am running away.
No, I must have misheard. It is toward the danger.
Okay, we're gonna
I
sort
will
this
aid
out.
you when the time comes to make the correct decision.
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I think one of us should be paying attention because they are getting very close to that ghost horse.
We should have faith in our companion. She is a woman of some words. Perhaps they will be sufficient.
They are a person of some actions.
I have seen them talk to people before, and they did not always try to immediately kill her, so they might
It's
succeed.
true.
We should have faith.
Okay. All right. Well, that's why I said we're going to wait to see, and then at first strike, I'll run.
All right, so Dyna, slowly, you're approaching, or are you keeping the distance but just like continuing to gesture?
I'm keeping the distance for now, and seeing that it returns to wave again. Oh, I'm gonna take a breath, and I'm just gonna go, "Hi, mate, how's it going?"
Very, very quietly at the distance. You do hear some sounds come from it. It's barely audible given the distance, but you can hear it making some manner of sounds as though trying to mimic your speech.
Okay, we tried. Time to go.
You all right?
Nope.
Again, a little bit of a raspy. All right.
Nope.
I think it's mimicking.
Don't like it.
Well, nice chatting to you. And I'm gonna resume walking slowly.
See ya. Have a nice day.
Farewell.
Oh, don't like it. Don't like it.
And if the group continues to move, it does continue to follow at distance.
Yeah, all right.
So that went
So
well.
we just leave it be. Like, it's a bit awkward, but it's not. Hasn't been hostile.
That's true.
So
I've never sensed as much skepticism from you lot as I do right now.
Well,
so
at this... Go ahead.
I was gonna ask something for the DM, so go you first. Go for it.
Oh, okay. Well, at this point, my level of is in the same vein as when you say bye to someone and they start walking the same direction to you, and you kind of are ready to start squaring up. That's where I'm at right now. It's a normal reaction.
I would like to try to use my sharp for a gun skill to try to for lack of a better term, insight check this thing, like to see if this thing is following us like a predator does for prey, or if it's like a just curiosity, or if it's like a lost puppy following someone. Like I'm just trying to figure out what this thing is. I don't know how easy that is for a twisted being. Probably very hard, but
Okay. So you're going to attempt to study this thing and try to judge its intentions based on what it's doing and what you know of Twist Touched as it stands.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Look it deep in the
so
eyes.
I'm going to make this... This is going to be a quite difficult check because this is behavior that you're not used to seeing. So I'm going to say this is probably a 10.
Okay. I would like to do this via blind pay.
Okay, so we're going to do a blind pay. So I'm going to take the first card off of the top of the deck. So I can play it down. So we have a king face up.
Okay.
What does that mean?
So you're trying to, because this is a hard check now that we've decided we're doing blind pay, this is a hard check. You need to beat 18. So you, Mosey, are going to play a card face down, and then Dyna is also going to play a card face down. And you are trying to break the threshold of 18 or make 21 for a perfect success.
Okay. How do I place a card face down?
So as you're dragging it out of your hand, if you hold shift, drag it out of your hand into the play area.
Hopefully this works. It did.
Okay. So we are going to flip these over. We have a king, which is 10, a 4, which is 14, and another 10. Unfortunately, that is 24. That means we bust. So this is a failure.
Oh, I thought you had to be that we had to beat 18.
You do have.
It's like blackjack, so they can't go over 21.
I'm sorry, I wasn't terribly clear about that. If you wanted to redo it because of that, then I would let you, because I wasn't terribly clear about that.
Okay, so and the king counts as well.
Yes, the king counts as well. So the king is 10, the 4 is 14.
Well, in that case, I mean, this is slight metagaming.
We could take. Yeah, we could take the fail. It's okay.
But
it's just me inciting.
I mean,
it's all
I'm
good.
happy to, because
yeah.
If you guys want to just take the fail, then that's fine. I don't feel right doing that since I didn't make the rules clear.
It's all good.
I mean, this is one of the other cards in hand, but it's a 7, and I'm like, that should be a 21, which is like the ideal number. That's why I'm like,
it is, yes.
Feeling a bit strange about playing it, but if you're all okay with it, because it is the card I likely would have played if not the 10.
Honestly, I'm okay with it. I don't mind.
Okay.
If that is in fact the card that you would have played if you had known that you can't bust, then I'm cool with doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to call that 21. We're going to call that 21. So yeah, this is a perfect success. So Mosey, as you reach out with your senses and you consult your knowledge of twist touch beings, and then you examine what it is that this thing is doing and how it's behaving, you really don't think that it is a threat. You're pretty sure that this thing is not in it to attack you. If it was in it to attack you, it likely would have done so by now, given that twist touch beings are usually they're pretty violent just on the baseline. If they're going to be violent, they are violent, period. So you're pretty sure that given that it's been this long, you guys have been marching for several minutes with this thing following you behind and it hasn't attacked, you're pretty certain that this thing is not a threat.
So as we continue walking, like cautiously and watching, and Mosey will speak up and, I really hate to say this because I'm more caution usually than I am not. But judging from my interactions with Twist Touched, I really don't think this thing means any harm.
Then why is it following us?
Curiosity? Trying to learn? Maybe it still has some humanity or horse-anity left? I don't know if we should interact with it, but I really don't think it's something that means us any harm.
I mean, quite like it, to be honest. It's as polite as it can be, keeps its distance, says hi. I met way less sociable people. It's just a bit awkward.
We need to get you some better friends.
I agree. The next town we visit, we need to ensure that Dyna speaks to many people.
I usually do. That's where things go wrong, but
that's true.
There seems right. I don't know. Let's just leave him alone for now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Look, my instinct is honestly to teach it how to swear, but I think that might escalate the situation, and I don't want to do that.
Ooh, actually, if you did that, I'd be more comfortable with it.
Hey, Cuisine, you reckon you can teach it to swear in French? You know, like when you babysit someone's kids and you're like, they'll never let me get away with teaching it actual swear words, so you teach it like mildly strange things? Am I the only one who's done that? Okay, right.
I don't think we should be corrupting this thing more. It is already pretty far gone on the twisted track. So,
I don't know, Cuisine. Maybe teaching it to cuss would like give it more of its humanity back. A lot of humans I've met are very rude.
It is one of their defining traits.
Here, why don't we give
also...
this?
Oh. Sorry, Zync, what was that?
Oh, I was just saying, why don't we give this a try? And Zync, as far as the horse creature has been away, so just from a distance, Zync looks over to the horse rider ghost creature and just yells, "Hey, say fuck!"
Really?
How very subtle.
Okay.
And off in the distance, you hear that raspy voice that you've come to associate with this thing, this weird discorporeated.
Fuck yes! Well, I like him now.
I think next time we're in town, we should get a parrot.
I mean, there is not much meat on them, but I think I could make it work.
Okay. Yeah, no. Scrap the parrot idea.
Good call.
I agree. A chicken, it is just better. Perhaps we could paint it some interesting colors before we eventually eat it.
That's like bullying.
Are you talking about eating
Is
the
it?
horse?
No, parrot that we don't even have, I think.
Oh. I was
Let's
sorry, I wasn't
decidedly
following.
not eat the horse.
Only barbarians would eat a horse.
Cuisine,
yeah, but parrot's a fair game.
You're saying you would eat twist-touched animals, but not a horse?
Yes.
I don't get it.
I approve of this.
What? If Mosey could facepalm, that's all he would be doing right now.
Trust me, every horse girl that's watching this stream is like, oh yes, finally someone gets it, how special and magical horses are.
Oh, God.
So, do we continue on?
I think so.
Yeah, they're alright by me.
Perhaps they too need to go to the radio tower.
Oh, right, we're going there.
So, with your strange wandering friend in tow, you
Is he
continue
gaining on us, or is he keeping the same distance?
No, same
Distance?
distance,
We've
same as always.
successfully confused the ghost horse.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem to be making any more or less noise than it was before. Just the clip clop of hooves on sand as it follows behind you at the same distance as always. And you continue on like that for a good few hours, and you're starting to close on the tower. You weren't quite sure quite how far away it was when you exited the mine shaft, but now that you've started to come up on it, it's getting closer. And as it's getting closer, the landscape is changing. The sand is disappearing and is starting to be replaced by much moister earth that is lush with grass, and trees begin to grow, and it becomes much wetter, far more rapidly than you might expect. And soon you're slogging through, instead of soft sand, wet marshland, as this swampy area. And you can tell now that the tower is leaning slightly, and you reckon that has to do with the fact that it's in such soft earth that its foundation has started to give way over the years. And the closer you get, the more you hear the insects in this wet marshland, and you hear the buzzing and the irritating sounds of all kinds of animals, twist-touched and natural.
So, once we get to where it starts getting almost like a bit swampy, I'm gonna stop for a moment. Is spectral horse still following?
Still there?
I'm gonna try to sort of wave him over. Sort of come here, gesture.
You want to ride the horse?
See if they get it. No, no.
I mean,
Want to see what it does.
As you beckon to it, it at first begins to mimic the motion, very stiffly, reaches out its hand. But then as it realizes that you seem to not be reacting to what it's doing, it changes tack and it slowly starts to walk forward toward you.
Hello.
Is it in the air?
No, it's on the ground. You can hear
It's on the ground.
You can hear the hooves squelching through the mud, and yet the very distinctive hoof sounds still resound, despite the fact that its hooves are now sloshing. Like the slosh sound of it squelching into liquid and into the earth is still there, but there's also additionally.
Sorry, I'm just getting a sort of image of someone going behind him with coconuts. So it's short, it's always there.
Monty Python style?
Just like off to the side of the car.
But yes, it does approach you, and it gets as close as you allow.
I don't think I sort of stop it at any point unless it sort of becomes hostile, at which point we're going to increase the distance. What does that look like now that we're a bit closer?
The closer you get, the more that the twist touch nature of it, you begin to see other signs of the twist and how it's corrupted it, how the skin of both the horse and the rider don't look quite right. It's almost like flesh, as though there were no skin. And despite this, you can still tell that each of them, their form is not quite solid. It's a little bit ethereal, and if you were to reach out a hand and touch it, I'm not certain if that's an avenue you want to take.
Nope.
We're not touching. We're not getting any tactile sense here, but the texture of it.
It's getting too cozy too quickly.
The texture of it, insofar as you can tell, looks like it would feel something between meat and fur, something at the intersection of those two sensations, and it's incredibly hard to imagine.
I don't like it.
So I'm gonna keep adding gestures to hopefully help in case there is a translation barrier, because it seems like either it's not used to interaction or it's maybe forgotten the meaning of things. So I'm just gonna, you okay?
Okay.
I'm okay.
I'm okay.
Do you understand me?
Understand.
That's a bit ambiguous. We are going towards that thing.
That thing.
Yes, that thing.
And it says at this juncture, the first unbidden thing out of its mouth since you've met it. Operator.
Are you the operator?
There's a beat of silence, and then in the distance, you hear it, Dyna. That horrible, horrible screeching sound. That buzzing and metallic screeching, getting closer and closer and louder and louder.
Does this seem to react at all to the sound?
Nope. It's still there, still staring at you.
And I'm going to point again to the radio tower. And again, I'm slowly freaking out because the sound is the operator operator there, or are you operator? Okay, there's two very important phrases that could be really helpful right now. First one's yeah, nah. The other one is nah, yeah. And they would be great. But yeah, nah. So you're not the operator. Yeah, no, you're not. Okay. Great. Thank you for that. That sound, the big thing. Bad news. Yep. Yes. Problem. For us.
It's growing louder.
Oh, I know. I'm trying speed communication and it's very difficult. Which direction is it coming from?
It's coming from, if you're looking at the tower, it's coming somewhere from off to the right. You reckon you've probably got about 3, maybe 4 minutes before it's on you.
Okay. We don't have much time. We're going to try to get to the tower away from the swarm. Yeah? Yeah. Great. And I'm going to turn around and sort of nod like, I'm not really sure if this is a success or not. I'm going to say, I think we should go very quickly towards the tower. Now.
Yes, run.
And get.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, go. Let's go.
You begin moving as quickly as you possibly can through this wet, arid, well, not arid, this wet, humid, there we go, swamp. And it's...
Remember what you said about crocodiles?
Yep. You pass by this gigantic willow tree that towers above any of the other foliage anywhere nearby, and it's leaning off to the side a little bit, and you have to actually like push your way through its limbs that are leaned down, and there's bugs everywhere, and it sucks as much as the desert did in a different way, only now you're like having to speed run the suck, and it's awful. And you continue on, and you get closer and closer to the tower, and you get to the point where you can actually see the entrance to this radio tower, but the sound is getting louder and louder still, and despite the fact that you're trying to outrun it, you can actually see now the form of the swarm behind you. It's shifting form, forming in on itself and then splitting apart, and just it's going to be a couple of minutes before it's on you. You don't have a whole lot of time to get in and prepare.
Is Horsey Boy with us? Or did
they stop? It's coming along with you, and it's having to it's actually pulled its horse up to a canter to keep up with you, but it is following still, and it's actually staying closer to you now that you've invited it close.
Okay. All right,
you do. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no, I was just gonna say let's just get to that tower as fast as possible at this point.
You do reach the entrance to the tower, and the gate again is barred by this chain around it with a padlock.
Oh, okay. I take out my trusty rock, and I kiss it, and I slam it against the lock.
And there's a click sound as well as the sound of the rock striking the metal as it comes undone. But this obstacle is just enough to slow you down that now the thing is right behind you and you can hear it, and the screeching sound is deafening. It is going to be on you any minute.
Can we get
Alright,
in and
everyone
shut
in,
the door?
everyone in.
You get inside the gate, but you note that the entrance to the place, the door has been blown off its hinges. There's no, like, closing of the door behind you. This thing's going to be able to follow you inside.
I'm going to
Zink,
try to
when we,
deter it with fire.
Sorry, one more time,
Fire
PH?
is good. I'm going to try to deter this thing with fire.
Is it
My
going to be like a
magical
gout
rune
of
thing.
flame?
Yeah,
It's going to be like a gout of flame.
Fury, so I'm going to use that.
Okay.
Whatever that thing is called.
Okay. Are there any modifiers associated with that? A number?
Let's see. I have to. I pick a random card from the deck, and then that many things are on fire now.
Okay.
So, almost like that.
So we're gonna.
Let's see.
I'm gonna deal one out to the deck and then place it in the play area.
Okie doke.
Unfortunately, it's kind of a low number. Go ahead.
Ah.
I was just gonna say, as this is happening, Mosey would be like, Zink, at some point when we're safe, you're gonna have to explain why you use that rock, that magical rock, as a blunt object instead of a magical item.
I don't know what magic you think is in this rock, but I promise you it's all power. The magic is called my arms, and my arms contain the power.
By the power of this rock. Right, so the card's value is a pool I divide between targets and distance. So 1 feet away, one thing catches on fire. Which is not amazing.
You try to draw on your connection to the magic of the world, and unfortunately, it's you pull at it, and you don't get a whole lot, and you do gout a little bit of flame out, but it doesn't go very far, and as such, it's only enough to really catch a nearby bush on fire. It doesn't really go much of anywhere. It's really unfortunate.
No one saw that. Right, let's see you do better, Mosey. Come on. Do something cool.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Sure. I will use my agent of peace to try to create a barrier where the door was. To at least slow them down.
Yeah. So what's the text on that for my benefit?
So pick a random card from the deck. Its value is how many seconds the visible target is shielded from any damage. Oh, so that doesn't really.
Well, I mean, if you wanted to, yeah.
Well,
I'm gonna say
Yeah.
I'm gonna say if you wanted to roll with your magic skill, to erect a barrier in the doorway to try and keep this thing from chasing after you, that's something that I would allow you to do. But it would check.
What was that?
It would be a check. So we would do either have you play a pair or we'd do a blind.
I got you. Would this be considered underneath the strength, the limited magical strength, growing stronger as you accumulate the limited complex substantial?
I think we're just whatever your connection rating is, that we would be adding that as the modifier to.
So I do not have any cards.
Resolve this check. Okay, so go ahead and draw 3. Actually, I have to deal you out 3. That's how that works. Felix, deal. Okay, so now you should have 3 cards. If you can make a pair with those, great. If not, we will do Go Fish. Or you can blind pay.
Sorry, I'm looking at what things
No
mean.
worries.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do this. I'll do that.
Okay. Let me just
Mosey is a very
check.
lucky individual.
All
Which
right.
means,
Perfect. Well done.
yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead and describe the barrier that you erect in the doorway.
Yeah. I think as again I'm still in my Mosey is still in his gun form, and the scarf-like textures that are wrapped around the gun start to kind of furl up as if they're static in the air, and from the scarf it kind of frills out and it creates a wall of wool, like a scarf wool, and it is magic, so it's stronger than actual wool. Don't at me. But it's just a wool wall that just kind of unravels from the gun, and then that cuts off. And Mosey says, "Well, that should buy us some time. I suggest we hurry."
And
A thing of beauty.
as you throw up this wall of wool in the doorway, you hear the screeching get louder, and you see the form of the wool get pushed in just a little bit, but it's holding for the moment. But
trying
they are right behind you.
Trying to allow our new nope pet friend to behind it so that it's with us still.
Yeah, it's come inside with you, and now that you're
Okay.
inside the radio tower, you're on kind of a ground floor, and there are stairs leading up.
Cool, perfect.
Let's get up there.
So you begin
I hope
the
one of you
climb.
knows
Polish.
electronics. It would be a shame to travel all this way without anyone knowing how to turn them off.
Polish, did you want to go ahead and play that Jack and get some more cards?
I might actually.
Okay.
So yeah,
Seems like a good time to do that. So
I
go ahead and play that to
side,
the
or?
play that to the center field so everybody can see that you've done that. And I'm going to deal you out 3 cards.
Thank you.
And there we go. Alrighty. So as we continue up the stairs, there is, give me one moment, I need to double check something. The wool barrier has seemed to stop the thing in its tracks for now, and as you make your way up the stairs, some of the railings and some of the environment has some of the environment has begun to decay. The stairs and stuff here are not as sturdy as in other places you've been, and as Zync is moving up the stairs, their leg manages to punch through some of the weak metal, and you can hear things crash to the ground. And I'm going to use this handy little jack that I have here to give Zync a major injury. So you can describe precisely what happens here if you like.
I think their leg crashes through the floor, and it's just them completely stopped, and not wanting to slow down to get caught rather than to impede progress. They're just kind of like, okay, and they pull their leg out from it, and it's just covered in scars and blood.
And if I might add on to that and make it a little bit worse, there is one gash that is exceedingly bad and is bleeding profusely, and you can tell that this metal is highly rusted, and it's likely that you're going to contract something from this. This is not good. This is not good. But you guys try to proceed up the tower. You're slowed down a little bit now that Zync is injured. And Mosey, you can feel the woolen barrier in front of the door give way a little bit as you're climbing this tower, and you can tell those things are going to be on you any minute.
Running out of time?
I might try to burn his wound shut.
Oh,
the big one.
Okay.
That seems like a thing.
I think I'll allow that. I'm gonna make it a. Are you trying to do a check or a blind pay here for this?
Let's try to play the card.
Blind pay?
So, yeah. Celeste, do you have any sixes?
Oh, okay. Let me have a look at my hand real quick. I do, in fact, have a 6. So I'm going to give that over to you. All right.
Yay.
So we've got appearances. Your difficulty threshold here is 10. You're going to need a hand from Zync or from another player if you're going to successfully do this. Otherwise, it's going to be a partial success.
I'll give him a hand.
Okay, so you can play 1 card to add to this. You need to play at least a 2 for it to be a success, full success.
Here, have a 7.
All right, so he, Cuisine heats the. Actually, you know what? Why don't you describe it, PH?
I think I'll twist in Zinc's hands to just lay the butt of my rifle end onto the wound. Maybe you'll do that subconsciously to just at least put some pressure on the wound. That helps. And then I'll just flash incredibly hot for just a moment. And that's going to sting. And as you quickly take me off again, you'll notice that you now have a cool burn mark on your leg. So, -1 wound, +1 horrible scar. Yay!
Oh, slap my leg meat on that griddle.
Since it is still quite painful, what we're doing here is we're downgrading this to a scrape. But it's definitely not bleeding as profusely, and it's quite possible that this won't then get infected since that was taken care of so quickly. So good job. But this did slow you guys down significantly, and now the swarm is coming after you, and
they're in.
It bears down, and as it's bearing down, the rider sort of leaps from the stairs and into the swarm, and suddenly there's this mass of these 2 twist touch beings at war with one another in the air next to you. And it's buying you some time, you can tell, but you don't have long. You need to climb, and quickly.
I suggest we go. Nope is buying us time.
Alas, poor Nope. We knew him well.
And you continue to climb these stairs, and this tower seems far taller than it seemed on the outside, but maybe that's just the exhaustion speaking. And eventually you reach a door at the top of the stairs, and you burst your way through. This one isn't even locked. And there is another twist-touched being at this console in this room. And it is reaching with many arms at the varying dials and lit up displays as it stares at you with eyes, pupilless, glowing white eyes. And it screeches at you that same horrible metal screech that you've heard from all these voices, and you hear them from downstairs as well. All these myriad voices crying out as one. What do you do?
I'd like to attack.
Yeah.
But, that's a team effort kind of a thing.
Are we both firing? Are both guns being fired by both slingers? Everybody agrees to this course of action?
I think Mosey would definitely try and shoot right away. Shoot first, ask questions later.
Yeah, no, I don't think Dyna has any objections. There's a time for talking and a time for shooting.
Yep, let's go ahead.
So the two of you,
Bonjour.
Dyna and Zync, you level your guns, the two of you back to back. You lower them down at the being in front of you, and it screeches in your face as you each fire. What we're going to do is we're going to do a blind pay for each of your firings. So I'm going to go ahead and put out the first card. This is going to be for PH and Hull. There is an ace out on the field. Remember, it's going to be medium.
That's awesome.
It's going to be medium, so you have to beat a 16 or make 21.
Okay, I'm gonna need cards because I've spent my last.
Yep, no worries. I'm going to go ahead and deal you out 3. Sorry about that.
So
No
what's
worries.
the value of an ace in this context?
Value of an ace is dependent. It's going to be either a 1 or an 11. So if you were to play something less than a 10 on it, then it would be an 11. If you play something more than a 10 on it, then it's going to drop down to a value of 1.
Let's see how we do.
All right, so we're going to flip these over. We have an ace on a 5, that is 16, and a 9. So if we drop that down, that is a 15 total. That does not quite cut it. I'm going to call that a partial success. We'll describe just how the harpoon shot affects it here in just a moment. I'm going to get another card out on the field for Polished and Felix. There is a 10 up. So each of you go ahead and play your card. Trying to beat 16 or make 21. Alrighty, we're going to flip cards. First card is a 6, that makes 16. Second card is a 3, which makes 19. That is enough. So why don't you guys describe how it is that you fire into this creature?
Well, Mosey,
On a
you
partial
are
success
the gun in this
or-
scenario.
I think as Dyna is like holds the gun, that since our minds are connected, instinctually like the gun rises, and it's, even though we're combative at times and disagree at this moment, it feels like we're like just exactly on the same page. And how good of a success is this, did you say?
No, this is complete success. So
It's a complete success. Okay. So I imagine that as it, like, it's just a fluid movement, and shoot right into like the I would say maybe one of the hands as they're like touching things, because we both know that if this thing is the operator and where this thing that has been stalking us has come from, we're trying to get it to stop operating. So I imagine just like as it goes for a lever, it's just a rifle shot, and it goes straight through one of the hands.
all right, and Cuisine and Zinc, how does your partial success aid this?
Why don't you describe it?
I think we're going for, well, Zinc tries to aim Cuisine enough that the shot would at least be, if not fatal, then at least devastating, so it incapacitates to some capacity, and then his their new leg injury acts up, and immediately they kind of like stumble and collapse a bit just as they pull the trigger to fire Cuisine, and the harpoon gets probably still in the body, just not in any, critical location.
I think it might nudge the chair it's on. I'm assuming it's on a
Yeah.
chair.
Yep, you do push it back away from its console.
Yeah.
A little bit, and the harpoon actually impacts the wall behind. So it's sort of lodged in a little bit, and then one of its hands gets blown off, and it hisses and screeches at you, and you hear the myriad forms of the drone army that's been following you. It flies up and into the room, and it sort of forms around the operator, and it becomes this conglomerate thing that is screeching at you and hissing at you, and it takes a large form with large wings that unfurl, and it screeches directly in your face with 1,000 voices. Polished?
Are they, like the swarm part, are they still kind of separate, or are they fully integrated at this point?
At this point, they've... Sorry, one more time. I might need you to repeat what you said.
So those swarm little creatures, are they now fully
Yes.
incorporated into this thing? Okay, so it's
Yes,
one creature
that's
now,
what
not
happens.
several.
It's fused now, and it is now
Okay.
one creature screaming at you with 1,000 voices.
Damn it. Okay. All right. New plan. Do we just shoot it again?
As it screams at you, one of the monitors behind it lights up. And you get the feeling that this monitor is sort of like the center of all of this.
Well, Mosey, I don't
Yes.
think we're going to have that many chances. With fire?
I'm with you. I think so. Now's your time to shine. Don't worry, I got your back. And knowing what they're about to do, could I use my my piece to protect, to use a card to
Yes.
protect them for a certain amount of seconds? Okay, so I just get a
So-
random card from the deck.
Yep, we get a random card from the deck. Give me one moment.
If it's a face card, it is put at the bottom and redrawn.
Okay. We have an 8.
Okay, so you got 8 seconds of no damage.
And as this thing screams at you, and Mosey's field of protection ensorcels you, and just at the moment when it screams and launches an amount of shrapnel at you that would normally have killed a lesser person, and it's stopped by the barrier. You actually see one directly in front of your face, and it's a hair's breadth from your head, and it's directly in front of you, and you know that would have killed you if Mosey hadn't protected you. And Mosey, you can feel the shrapnel that you're protecting Dyna from, and you can tell that was the right play.
You're up.
I think if we're both okay with it, firing again.
We fire.
And
we're
I'm
gonna do
aiming
another-
at the monitor that appears to be centered.
Perfect. We're going to do another blind pay. So we have a 5 up. We need to beat 16. That'll do it. I think.
Yeah,
So,
23.
Don't you bust at 23?
no, yeah, that's not 23.
24.
Hold on, that's 13.
13.
actually, because the ace drops
13.
down to a 1.
It would bump down to 1, yeah.
Oh, it drops down
Unfortunately,
to
it
I am
was.
going
Oh,
to.
crap.
I am going to.
Yeah.
I think this is unorthodox, but I am going to allow Cuisine or Zync to add to this if they want to.
Okay, let's see. So how much would we need?
So we're at 13 now. You have to beat a 16, so we're looking for an additional 3, not to exceed 21. So we're looking at it has to be less than 7 or less.
Less than 8.
There we go. I have a 3.
Perfect. So we'll say that that harpoon that pinned them in place a little bit prevents them from moving to intercept the shot from Dyna and Mosey, and it impacts the screen behind you. And there is a shriek, a 1,000-voiced shriek from the bird-like creature in front of you as it begins to turn to static and glitch out, and its form moves in 5 directions at once as it screeches, and it looks like electricity is shocking it as it flashes colors, and it slowly, as it turns to static, it slowly begins to melt to the ground, and its form falls to bits and pieces, little miniature drones dropping off here and there, and it continues to shriek in defiance as its form disintegrates. And with one final cry of a single voice, all of the drones that made it up die out, and it collapses. And I think that is the end of our story.
The only thing I want to
Wow.
know is Nope alive? Or whatever they were before.
You're not sure?
Damn, okay.
In other words, nope.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, thank you guys so much for coming with me on this wild ride that went places that I was not at all expecting. But I did do my best to tell an entertaining story, and I think these folks definitely told far more of an entertaining story than I ever could. So thank you guys so much. This has been amazing. We're going to go back around the table and find out where we can find everybody. You guys can do plugs. Let us know what other channels you'll be making appearances on, be it this one or others, where we can find you across the internet. We're going to go reverse order of how we did before, and we're going to start with Polished, who was our wonderful slinger, Dyna.
Thank you so much, Celeste. It's been an absolute pleasure being on. This was great. I'm not sure what I expected. This wasn't it, but I'm very glad that this is the session we got because I had a fantastic time. I'm Polished. You can find me as Polished Cryptid on all of the socials. And you can normally find me on my own channel, aptly named Polished Cryptid, where we stream TTRPG content 3 times a week. That's pretty much it.
Good to know. What do you think happens to Dyna after this whole thing is over with? What do you think she gets up to?
I think it's going to depend on whether Nope is alive or not. Because if so, that's definitely someone we're going to try to create some sort of weird friendship with. Because she knows that her presence won't corrupt this thing. So that would be freaking fantastic. Beyond that, I think they're just going to keep traveling and keep searching, ideally adding up to a small group of almost a nomadic tribe over time.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on. Psychotic Felix, who played the amazing Mosey. Where can we find you throughout the week on the internet?
Hello, I am Felix. I am on most social media as some form of Psychotic Felix, whether it's psychotic_Felix or just as Psychotic Felix. I stream on Twitch as well, mostly roguelike games, RPGs, a lot of horror games. I hate underwater video games, so a lot of that. My channel loves to see me suffer, so I usually play games that make me suffer and on the hardest difficulty at that. So that's at Psychotic Felix. And yeah. And I'm also super grateful for you guys having me. It's awesome to be a part of this community, and I look forward to many more chances to get into role playing with all of you.
Absolutely. You've been a blast to have on. What do you think happens with Mosey afterward? Obviously, he stays with Dyna, but what do you think? Is there anything in particular?
No, he starts vamping as far away from her as possible. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think Mosey's ideal is to continue with Dyna and to protect her as much as possible, but also seeing her capabilities and whatnot, trying to understand them, and also trying to put a little more faith in them and their abilities, seeing what they just accomplished, and also maybe trying to learn from Cuisine and Zinc, but also maybe try and get away from them too, because they're a little crazy.
Well, speaking of Cuisine, PH Paladin Hulk, give us an idea of where we can find you throughout the week.
Next you can find me is Friday evenings over on Raven's channel, the Black Feather Guild, where I play Balder. He's a wee little dwarf with a big axe, and we're in a fantasy modern setting where we're trying to keep my dad alive, who's been infected by the Mushroom King. It's all a bit dark and icky, so tune in for that. And then starting soonish on Polished Cryptid's channel, I will be GMing a small little mini series of Good Strong Hands, which is made by Nerdburger Craig. Great system, love that. It's sort of an 80s movie fantasy vibe thing. Looking forward to doing that. It's going to be my first GMing anything other than a one-shot on stream, so yay. And then Sundays over on Uncanny Adventures, I play Holt, the pirate paladin who tries to make friends with all the evil pirates. We're doing well in the friendship department. We're going to have fun with our new community we've stumbled into until everything turns to shit, as it always does. And then I'm back on Polished Cryptid's channel on Tuesdays, where I play Dom Rain, the Githzerai noble fighter, where I try desperately not to succumb to the insanity around me.
Absolutely wonderful. Clearly a man of many talents. Thank you for coming along on this ride with us. What happens to Cuisine after all of this is over?
Cuisine looks forward to no longer being hunted and instead being the hunter, as it should be.
Absolutely. And Bubbly Cream Soda Hull, who has played the absolutely inimitable Zinc. Where can we find you throughout the week on the internet?
Hi. At the moment, I don't have any upcoming plans to be in any stream per se, but I do post occasionally some drawings I do on Twitter, more so as just an archive, because let's face it, being on Twitter for more than a couple minutes is exhausting and requires just a long nap afterwards. So if I guess anyone is interested in just seeing art occasionally pop up on their timeline, it's just on there. Aside from that, no current plans to be on a stream. So my presence on the internet is as much a surprise to anyone else as it is to me.
And what do we think Zinc gets up to after all this is said and done? How's his epilogue go? How's their epilogue
go? I think at some point they do manage to make it back to the small community that they are originally from, having gotten back from this wild journey earlier than planned, mostly needing to rest up and recover, but definitely gives Cuisine the best opportunity to do a lot of cooking for a lot of people who would appreciate a good meal.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you guys so much. This has been an amazing experience for me. Hi, I'm Celeste PLS with way too many underscores on Twitter. I'm Celeste Shepherd here on Twitch. I don't do a whole lot of streaming of my own, but you can find me in other places throughout the week. Most notably, this coming Saturday, I'm going to be in a lovely little Fallout game right here on Weave the Tale, Trouble in the Turnpike. I'm going to be playing a ghoul professor who is going to be searching for a cure for his own unique disorder. And I'm not talking about the ghoulism. If you want to learn more about that, tune in, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. And we'll be having a little bit of wasteland fun. And then this coming Sunday, you can catch me over on twitch.tv/Matev7 with a little bit of Masked Sunset City, where our dear Lady Perilous is going to have to confront one of her best friends and boyfriends with the news that one of their friends has just died. That should be interesting. So go ahead and tune in this coming Sunday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Other than that, I might make another couple of appearances here. We'll see. Maybe I'll be GMing. Maybe I'll be a player. You never know. But definitely keep an eye on this channel. We'd like to thank all of our lovely, lovely sponsors this season. Tin Star Games with Relics, a Game of Angels, which you can catch on this channel tomorrow night, I believe. Modifius for the Fallout content. Evil Hat Productions for Tachyon Squadron, which aired earlier today. I definitely recommend you catch the VOD on that. Helmgast, we've got a Cult Divinity Lost show, I believe, on Friday. Grinding Coffee, which is Black queer-owned coffee business. They've got absolutely wonderful coffee. I'm going to have to get me some of that here soon. I love coffee. And Dice Dungeons. We have wonderful, wonderful sponsors who make all of this possible, and we appreciate each and every one of them. If you guys want to stick around for some more content, we are going to be rating critical misses when we go offline. So definitely stick around. Lots of cast members that make appearances on this channel are going to be over there. So definitely give them a look. And we are done for the evening. So thank you so much for coming out. This has been a wonderful experience, and we appreciate each and every one of you viewers, whether that's here live, on the VOD, on YouTube. We can't do this without you. You is possible. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful night.